Scott Narver, have you heard about Bret Hart's rating system?
Jake Lloyd Bacon, no, tell me all about it.
3 different categories, 0 to 10 in each category, and that makes up a wrestler's total rating.
Oh, does it have a name?
No, I was just calling it the Hitman rating system. Is that not good?
No. We could do better.
Okay. How about the Hitman's hit list?
Hearts and Souls.
Hitman Hinge? He like swipes depending on the rating system.
Are you better than Bruce?
Bret Hitman Sharps shooting.
Pounded out with Bret.
The Sunny system.
30 for 30.
That actually kind of works.
Bret Hitman Hart, hot or not.
That's the winner. The Hitman rating system today on Pro Wrestling Palskis. Hey, Scott Narver.
Hey, Jake Lloyd Bacon.
Hello to everybody out there listening to the Pro Wrestling Palskis, and a special welcome to those joining us live for the super exclusive patron-only live stream. If you want to join us as these episodes happen in real time and yell at us in the chat and tell us your wrestler ratings, because that's what we're talking about today, then you can only do that by becoming a patron at patreon.com/PWPalskis, just like the current PWP World motherfucking champion, Andrea Beeler, a.k.a. Pollen Hate, record-setting 6-time PWP champ. She will defend that title next week, Scott Narver. I think so. Wait, look at the calendar. Next week, she will undeniably, I've looked at the calendar, I have the knowledge. Next week, she defends that title.
Whoa.
Yeah, shit's going down.
Seems so soon.
It seems like it's just a week away.
Man.
Yeah.
Best of luck to her and the other competitors. Maybe she'll hold on to it and doesn't want to give up her most winningest.
She's not record. Just the most winning champion, but she also has the longest reign of 2 months. Not this specific reign, but maybe she wants to beat that as well. Maybe she hangs on to it April. Maybe she hangs on to it into May and breaks her own record twice.
Maybe she never lets it go.
Oh, she's going to be like Roman Reigns. So are you saying that the rest of the Palskis, the most important thing is defeating the B line? Oh, the B line. Andrea Beeler, the bloodline B line. So right now it's the B line that she's part of.
Could be.
More important than beating Drew McIntyre, who in this instance, just say Mickey Bell, probably, right? It's probably the Gibraltar, Scotland, it's all the same, right?
I had never seen Mickey Bell wear a kilt.
I have, but it wasn't. He didn't call it a kilt. More important than that is defeating the B-line, everybody. So you got to become a patron, a championship patron over on the Patreon. Scott Narver, we were trying to think about something to chat about, and we were looking at a list, and I was looking at all of our fun little topics and things that we do. And I asked you if you had seen this clip of Bret Hart discussing how he rates wrestlers. And you had not seen this.
I was not familiar with the Bret Hart rating system.
The Bret Hart rating system. The Bret Hart hot or not system. And so I thought, well, this will be fun. Let's talk about his rating system. Let's talk about whether or not we think it makes sense, whether or not it's an actual way to judge pro wrestlers, and maybe let's rate some fucking wrestlers. But I figured what we'll do is, in case people aren't aware, let's just go ahead and play it, and we'll show them what we're talking about. So this, by the way, is from Inside the Ropes on YouTube, is where this is just some big long interview that this company Inside the Ropes.
Yeah, those guys, they put together a really solid show. They're overseas and they have special guests, and Your interviewer is really solid and they do good stuff.
Yeah, I've watched quite a few of these and I've always enjoyed them. A lot of the clips and reels come across social media. So, here's what Bret Hart has to say.
I think if you give 10 points for each category, there's like 3 categories that are critical to being a great wrestler. And the first thing is you got to have the right look. And if you look at any wrestler that was a success, like from Hulk Hogan to Andre the Giant to Warrior to whoever was the top guy, they always had to have that a special look to them. Like when they walked in the room, it's like when Hulk Hogan walked in the room, you noticed like he was the biggest guy in the room, or Andre or Bundy or whoever, like it was just this presence about him. So look is a very big thing in wrestling, how you look. And the other thing is your promo skills, whether you can sell the product, whether you can sell your look. And then you have all these wrestlers that were great promo guys. And then you have the third category is actual wrestling ability, whether they're good wrestlers or good workers. And as an example, like someone like Hulk Hogan, he was like 10 out of 10 on his look, 10 out of 10 on his promos, 3 out of 10 on his wrestling. That's being generous. So you give Hulk Hogan like a 23. Someone like Steve Austin, you look at him, you go 9 out of 10 on his look, 10 out of 10 on his promo. His wrestling, you give him a 9 out of 10. Like he has a pretty high rating. And then like Shawn, his look is like 9 out of 10. His promos were 7 out of 10. His work, 10 out of 10. So you get a very high ratio. In my case, I was, let's suck it. I got enough to eat. But in my own case, I was probably a 6 out of 10 on my promos, maybe a 8 out of 10 on my look, or 7 out of 10 on my look. I never looked like Hulk Hogan or Warrior or any of these guys, but I looked enough of a part to at least work. I never felt that I was, that I was too, like I had a good a high enough number anyway, but I think my work was a 10 out of 10. So,
all right, I'll stop it there. So, first off, let the man talk. Stop screaming shit at him. All right, audience members.
I like your jacket. Your jacket's really cool. That's a point.
So his 3 categories are look, promo, and wrestling. So you could label those however you want. That's what we'll call them for the sake of keeping it his verbiage.
I think those are very fair.
Right.
Nail it down to 3 categories. It's not moveset.
Right.
It's not, song. Things are, or like things that are kind of out of your control. Right. Presentation or something that may really not be that meaningful.
Right. Well, let's talk about this. Like, do you agree with even the premise of his rating system, that because he gives 0 out of 10 to each in order to get a 0 to 30 rating, right? Is it fair to give each category 10 points? Is look just as important as promo, as wrestling? Because if you're giving them all equal, a footing as far as like there's 10 points in each category, you're saying that each one is equally as important. The 3 are all working in perfect tandem.
I would say so, because it is theater.
Right.
It is a show. You are, at the end of the day, you are a lone character.
Right.
So how do you look different, or how am I to identify you from everybody else? It's not from wrestling moves.
Right.
It's not necessarily from promos. I'm still looking at you.
Right.
So, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think it's fair. I do think that there is, I think we might find that if we do this with every wrestler, we find some like discrepancies where it's like, well, this wrestler is clearly better than this wrestler to us, but their rating isn't as high because one of the things is very low, but they're so good that it's almost as if they're beyond the 10 scale. Like, I think this is one of those scales that every time you add a new wrestler to it, the whole scale has to sort of adjust on a bell curve. You know?
I don't think so.
No, you're not so sure? All right.
Because to the way that it sounded like he rated, all the people right away that these big legendary names,
right?
That he's like, they're still going to get high numbers because they still have something really high in a category or two.
Yeah,
and that's what made him great. That's why he's not naming people that we don't consider that would be high on that list because they are lacking 2 or more categories.
Right. Yeah.
So like a Steve Austin in his instance is that he's knocking him a little bit for,
he doesn't give him a 10.
It's like, it's a defined look. We all know that it's him, but in his eyes, and I can see it where it's not a 10. It's a little less than that because at the end of the day, it's like, it's not glitzy. It's not glamorous, but it's him.
I do think though, that there is something to be stated about judging people overall or like for their era, because the reality is some guys just look good in all of wrestling and some guys were perfect for their era of wrestling. And I think Stone Cold's one of those guys where I actually think for looks, I give him the 10 out of 10 because he looked like the guy in the back street. He looked like the blue collar guy who wanted to fucking, punch his boss in the mouth. And that made that look perfect.
With all the knee braces?
Okay. All right. I'm going to give you that. I'm going to immediately take a step back with the knee braces and say that is true. The knee braces does alter the look. But so is that part of it? Is the look just your genetic makeup that you bring, or does it also include your ring attire? Everything. It's the package. It's the total package.
Yeah, I think a little bit of it is presence that he kind of addresses.
So some look
like it's your overall. It's not the backstage presence. It's not when I was in the room and I saw this. It is a bit of your presence of who you are, how you carry yourself, right?
Sure.
Whether or not it's the it factor or not that we've referred to on the show. It is the ring attire, whether it's entrance attire, ring attire. It's all parts of it. Because if you're to just look at Ric Flair in ring, you go, oh yeah, okay. So I don't know why he's wearing his knee pads down to his shins. And,
seriously.
The boots and stuff. You're taking the robes into consideration.
Yeah, sure.
You're taking that as part of the look. That's part of when he steps out through the curtain. You go, wow, look at that guy.
Right.
That's presence. That's flashy. That's this. It adds all to that number.
So then some guys, their scales are kind of ever changing throughout their careers, their scores, I should say, because at some point, some guys didn't have the look. And I think this is almost like where you kind of have to judge a character in a specific moment sometimes versus like, it's usually
at their peak. Also, you're not going to take, it's like the Undertaker. Yeah. But when he was the Punisher, he looked really weird. He had this goofy mask.
A mask that clearly was problematic on his lip and his nose.
Yeah. And Rey Mysterio, you're not going to go, well, I don't know. He wrestled without his mask for a while. Like he had the horns and that wasn't great. Like, no, you're taking it at its peak run and going, this is what it was. Because I think Bret's doing that for himself too. He's not looking at Hart Foundation.
Right.
For his scores.
Sure.
He's looking at, I'm WWF champion.
Right. Top of his career.
Top of his game. Yeah. Like when he's solidified.
Right on. Well, it's fun. You wanna rate some people on this and kind of see where we land?
Heck yeah, I do. I love judging people.
Let's judge some fucking people. First off, let's rate each other. Just so that we can get warmed up. Okay. All right. Scott Narver, 0 out of 10. Where am I on look?
Oh, I was about to say fuck you because you said the words Scott Narver, 0 out of 10.
I'm sorry, 0 to 10 is what I meant. Scott Narver. Ooh, that was a little Freudian slip, maybe. Scott Narver, 0 to 10. Where do you rate me on look? I'm gonna write Jake.
I think you still need to work on this. You need to say like Scott Narver. Let's rate.
I'm asking you.
Me.
Go for it. Do it.
On the scale of 0 to 10, All right. So we got look, we've got promo, and we've got in ring.
Yeah, wrestling. Yeah. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do the 3.
I haven't seen any of your matches.
I know exactly. Yeah. All right. So 0 then for wrestling. I get a 0, so that the base score is I have a 0 of wrestling, but I've also
I wouldn't say that.
No, okay.
Because I know you actually went and you trained.
Yeah, but I was not very good.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. Like
I could throw a punch.
I can't give you a 0.
Okay.
Because you still had
1.
There was still no. Why do you keep you asking me to fucking rate you?
All right. I'm sorry.
Let me rate you.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So, all right, look. It's all those fucking old man sweaters.
I know. Remember, this is
it.
for wrestling. This is rating people as wrestlers, not just like on a day-to-day basis.
Oh, we're rating them as wrestlers.
Yeah, that's the whole point of this.
I thought we were just rating each other as people. So, Jake Lloyd Bacon as a wrestler right now, the old man sweaters, the look. I would certainly remember you compared to everybody else.
All right.
It is a distinct look.
Okay.
I know that guy's hiding his bald spot.
Okay.
So he wears the cap and comes out with the old man sweaters.
Constantly trying to put the hat on, and even though people are putting him in headlocks, like shit, keep the hat on.
I'd go 3.
All right. Okay. 3. All right, Scott, I feel like, you're tall. That face that you make, the Scott face that's in every photo. Yeah, there it is. That face. I mean, absolutely unforgettable. And similarly, so I'd be like, this guy does not. He looks like he's gonna get murdered out there. He should not. That belly. So as far as like 0 to 10, should he be a wrestler? It's not very high. But again, similarly, not completely and totally out of the realm because your heights. I'm gonna give you a 3 as well. We're going tit for tat on this one. I think you're landing at a 3 as well.
All right, I've been working on my finishing move, belly to Bailey.
Oh shit! And that's the drink, the alcoholic beverage, Bailey.
Well, it's more about me
Irish
putting
cream.
my belly and hugging someone.
Oh, got it. Okay.
And then hurting them.
All right, promos.
We have both been struck with Tamina over the years.
I think I far more than you, but that doesn't mean you're excused from it.
Yeah, we've both been infected.
Yes, 100%.
You have a gift of the gab.
Okay. So, as yourself.
You're a fast talker.
Yes.
You're a motivated talker. You're enthusiastic. I'm going to give you 6.
Oh, shit. Thank you so much.
But I would say this.
Yeah.
Well, the look, I don't think it's going to get any better. I think the look is
right.
where it's at.
Yeah.
I think your promo throughout the years will still, even though you're really old now.
Fine wine.
Having just celebrated a birthday. It's only going to get better.
Okay. All right. So judging you, I think that you don't suffer from the Tamina as much as I do. Because I'm a fast talker, I slip up on my words far more. My connective tissue from my brain to my mouth. Sometimes a sentence starts and I go, I don't know where the fuck this is going. We're going to find out. Not necessarily good for pro wrestling. If you're giving me 6, I think you're calculated. You might be a little slow. You got that Texas tempo, but that's good for wrestling, especially when you're trying to draw people in. I got to go 7. I got to go 7 for your promo skills. Yeah. 7. Wrestling.
All right. I'm trying to think of the physical activities I've seen you do in life.
Okay.
You say you walk around. I've seen you walk around with a dog.
Yeah. You've seen me play baseball. I saw a movie.
It's true. There's a lot of editing.
I had to make myself look crappier because I learned while making my movie about baseball that all the really attractive looking athletes were not as good at baseball as all of the schlubby guys who were supposed to be shitty at baseball. So we all had to dumb ourselves down.
I know you trained, you went to it. They didn't kick you out. That's never been the story of.
I did not get fired.
They said no, they closed the doors and nothing like that happened. So
no, I walked away.
You were capable.
Yes.
In the Bret Hart scale of things, you didn't hurt anybody.
Other than myself, no, I didn't. I never hurt nobody. I never injured anybody. I did hurt
So
myself
that's
a couple times.
that's points on the Bret Hart scale.
That's true. Safe.
Because Goldberg's going down in points,
Oh,
clearly.
100%, clearly. Negative.
I'm gonna go 3.
Okay. All right. That I think is way higher than it should be.
You trained. You never hurt anybody, and others were chatting with you, Balls Mahoney, and others were enthusiastic and encouraging.
Right.
So 3.
I think that's far more gracious than it should be. I'm gonna go you. I know for a fact you have taken a beating over the years. Okay. I have not seen you getting a ton of offense.
It's true.
Okay. But I've seen you, versions of you, the faces of Narver. Okay. I've seen get abused, take bumps, and relentlessly put others over. And that's just as important. I'm going to go 2. I'm going to go 2 as far as wrestling ability, because I don't think you're getting cheered for hitting the finisher anytime soon. I
don't think I'm getting cheered.
No, I think you're cheered. So I got a 3 in look, a 6 in promo, and a 3 in wrestling, which gives me a total of 12. Scott got a 3 in look, a 7 in promo, a 2 in wrestling, also gives him a 12. Evenly matched pair. We are below half. We didn't even get to the halfway mark. Better than I thought.
Us?
Better than I thought.
Podcast hosts? That's pretty damn good.
Yep. All right. Beyond silliness now, let's rate some actual wrestlers. That took a lot longer. It was a lot more fun than I anticipated.
That was fun.
Okay.
I thought it was going to really crush feelings.
All right. So where do you want to start? You mentioned earlier that maybe we go modern mid-card guys.
Yeah, I feel like when I say mid-card, like talking the potential next crop of main eventers, and that who are what we would consider the mid-card title holders.
Sure. And the top of that mid-card, not like people who are, not quite at the brass ring, but like our current stars that are not Roman.
I'm not talking WWE Tag Team Champions, not the brass, the penny titles. No, I'm talking like here. Let me present one right off the bat here.
Okay.
TNA X Division Champion Mustafa Ali.
Okay. All right. So let's see. Ali. He's like a really good looking guy. I don't know though that he looks like he doesn't have a pro wrestling look, in my opinion.
To me, he looks like he has a lot of pro wrestling looks. The long hair, it's slick,
right?
It's shaved on the sides.
I'm just trying to find a new picture of him because I don't think I've seen him in a hot minute.
No discernible tattoos.
Right.
Maybe his legs are covered. I don't know.
Right.
But he's just got that kind of like, oh yeah. A modern wrestler look.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
He's had some gear lately. I haven't seen latest gear, but he was doing like the Iron Man glowy hand thing and the mask and all that. Like that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But it's a hard turn then when you then see him take it off and you go, okay. That doesn't lend itself to what you're wearing.
I think he's like clearly fit and in shape and athletic, but I do think that doesn't get you as much these days because everybody is. Like that's like, especially if you're a smaller light heavyweight or cruiserweight, like you kind of have to have something a little bit unique. And I think you've actually lowered my rating in talking about him. I think he's around a 5 for me. I think I'm going 5.
He's good looking.
5, 6.
He
is good looking.
Elevate that part because he's a good looking kid. He doesn't have any battle scars.
Good for a baby face. Bad. If he's booked as a heel, then I think his rating goes down lower because he's not scary looking. He's got a great smile. I like it when he's happy.
No, when he's the leader of Retribution, it's like, okay.
It was terrible. So I
don't buy it.
I think
You're
I'm
too good
going
looking.
5.
Like you don't have a big menacing beard. Even your beard's like, yeah, it's kind of charming.
Yeah.
Do you work at a coffee shop?
He's like very well manicured. Yeah. I'm going 5 personally. Is that kind of, do you agree with me on that?
I think I'm in there. Yeah, I think we shouldn't be going like
No.
that. No, I'm giving him this.
Yeah. I think.
See, I'll go. I was thinking 4.
Okay. All right. We
'Cause
we can
5. I feel like
Let's meet in the middle. There's no. He didn't say anything about not giving people points, not giving people decimals.
shit.
Bret Hart. So let's do.
4.5?
We'll do 4.5.
Okay.
Promos. My recollection of him in WWE was really good vignettes when he was not in front of the arena and when he was scripted and
very Thunderdome era. This guy.
yeah. I don't know that I really have a ton of memories of him cutting great promos in just holding a microphone.
Yeah, same here. And the stuff I'm thinking of too, it's like he wasn't stumbling over his words. He was capable,
Right.
but it wasn't anything memorable. It wasn't anything that felt honest either. Even if you're giving bullshit, like if I'm still buying it at the end of the day, it's like, oh, that felt like he really connected with it.
And that's kind of what I mean about the vignette ones, the ones that were recorded when he's walking around the streets and he's talking about being a cop and where his community, I believed all that shit. And I was like, this is great. But it was never traditional promos doing that. It was always, vignettes.
I'm leaning 4 again.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm right there with you. I don't know that I'm going to go. I don't think I can give any lower than that because he has made me believe him. But
yeah,
I want to see him in the middle of the ring on a mic talking to a crowd with another guy standing across from him and make me believe it.
And again, it's a scale of I don't look at 4 being bad. I look at it as yeah, you're all right.
Yeah, I mean 5. Okay. 5 is literally average. It's in the middle. 5 is So wrestling. I mean, God, he is an athlete. He's one of those guys who and this is an instance where the wrestling doesn't just mean physical ability, it's also ability to tell a story, to sell. I do think he's still pretty up there though. And I think it's because of his size and baby facedness that when he sells and when it looks like he's the underdog who's getting the shit kicked out of him, and he has that ability to come back. He's quick. He's got a great set of moves. I'm thinking maybe 7.5 or 8.
I was going 7.
7. Yeah, 7. I'll give you that. We'll go 7. So what's that? 4, 8. So that is 15.5 total for Mustafa Ali.
Hey, that's pretty damn good.
Well, it's only a few points better than you and I, but but he is, he's working. He's out there working.
He's at the working.
Honestly, I think the reality
right now we're basing him off on the prime that he's had.
I think,
and ideally he hasn't had his prime.
You have something about the look, changing his look in some way, right? That will be effective, whether it's cutting the long hair or styling it or coloring it or doing something different with his face, growing the beard, something with his look, or maybe it does come with his attire. Maybe he does need to figure out a different ring attire. And then, promo, those are the weak spots. And one of them is a little bit tougher to control than the other because the look is, you only have so many things you can do in your look.
And when you start to tap into more of yourself, of something about your life or something that makes it unique, or something on your journey of wrestling that stands out, and Austin clearly had broken out when real life situations had happened.
Right.
That in WCW I was jerked around.
Right.
So I was given a platform on ECW to then talk about it. The breakthrough happened from real life.
Yeah.
So that could be a potential journey, or it's somebody gives him a character and then that unlocks something in him. Yep. But oftentimes there's something in real life, you can look at Cody Rhodes and go when did he get really good? He did a lot of character stuff that helped him along the way. But when he's going, I'm taking all this away and I'm going to go be me.
Yep.
And start my journey, his story, obviously.
Yes. That's
when it started breaking out and started being uniquely different and people started connecting.
Right.
So that could be the path
for him. So Mustafa should get a giant neck tattoo. There we go. Solved it.
Oh yeah, dude.
All right, who else? You got another one?
Well, Yeah, sure do. Say, next up, let's look at the old AEW. And when Jake and I were talking about this, well, what's a mid-card title in AEW? There's so many goddamn champions.
Everybody in that company is a mid-card champion right now.
It's a lot, so we won't go through all of them because the show has time limits. But let's look at TNT champion Christian Cage.
Christian, oh man, this is one where everybody's gonna be like, these fucking biased jerks. We're gonna make so many people angry with this. There's already people out there who love fucking Ali who were like, what the fuck, 15.5? Get the hell out of here. All right, Christian Cage.
But I mean, come on, look, it's right. Looking at the scale of everybody at all-time greats.
I think
Mustafa Ali right now is in a positive way. It's like, he's average.
Yeah. I think Christian, for his look, for being complete as objective as we could be, I'm thinking he's 6 to 6.5.
I agree.
I
will say, while I love certain looks above others, just kind of taking because he's had so many different looks.
Yes.
The turtleneck is fucking amazing. The turtleneck wrestling gear is amazing. Yes. The mesh shirt when he was an ENC. I think there's been some highlights and there's been other times where it's like, you just got the tights also, and something else.
Yeah. His size.
His face, his hair, the overall presentation is like, it's good.
Right.
And it's been great. Better at times, but I'd say 6 to 6.5. I totally agree with that.
I think I'm going to give him 6.5 because of what you said about the gear. Because I think he's a 6, right? And then I think
he's a blue dot 6.
I think that's adding to him. I think the reality is like he doesn't look like a wrestler. You look at him in the face, and when he was big and got like wrestler big, it looked weird. That's why when he lost weight and he trimmed down when he came back to WWE. That was one of my favorite eras for him look-wise, just because it was so unique to me. He looked just like a fit man. Do you know what I mean? And
so you ruling out the TNA career?
You have to realize I didn't watch that. So I'm talking about just yes, it was probably that same. It was that version because he trimmed down in TNA is when and so yes, 100% that obviously, but my own experiences. But promo.
They had DVDs.
This motherfucker. I mean, I don't know. I don't know that I'm giving him any less than a 9 on a promo. He is just so good when he's being serious. I'm fucking in. When he's cracking jokes, they're funnier than most wrestling comedy.
I was gonna go 8 or 8.5. That's where I was at. Because a 9 is so strong.
I can do 8.5. I think 8.5 is fair.
Because he's
right.
And he's adaptive. I agree with you on all ends. And I'm going like, he put my ass in seats.
Yeah.
But the overall, like, speaking of everybody, it's like he's a solid 8.5 though.
Right.
I think.
Wrestling, man, there's a reason that you and I both love him so much. Just being a workhorse. He makes things look good. He's safe as far as we know. I think my only problem with him have been sometimes I've wanted a change up of a moveset, and also I've just hated that finisher. I've hated the unprettier kill switch, whatever it is. It's like one of my least favorite wrestling moves.
I love it.
I fucking hate it so much. And but when it comes to just fucking talent,
there's a 0.5 added to his score regardless, because he's the only guy I've ever seen that takes more ball shots, or when other guys' body parts are worked, like, work the leg, he seems to go like work the balls.
Yeah.
That he takes so many risks when it comes to his balls that has to be an additional 0.5.
I'm kind of leaning like 8.5, so maybe 9. I'm kind of leaning that high. I think he's just that good in the ring.
I think I'm at an 8.5.
Including your 0.5?
Yeah.
All right. I'll accept these terms 8.5. So what do we got? That's
these toims?
What did he say?
It sounded like he said, I'll accept these toims.
These toims. Well, I was in Jersey, all right? At these times, what are we doing? It's boys.
Well, you're writing on paper, and I thought maybe it just turned into an old-timey gangster.
Yeah, that's what I do. So let's see. What is that? That's 8 and 8, 16, 17 plus 6. So that is 23. So he's at a 23. That's a very respectable rating. And I think very just. I know that we're biased. We've mentioned on this program that we're both huge Christian marks.
But he's endured. He's been, someone that has contributed so much. And I think for me, I've always liked him more than Edge.
Yeah.
So I'd probably score him higher as well.
Same.
But
honestly, I think
player. He's not a 30. He's not obviously the best ever.
I think if we were to do Edge without going into the whole conversation about it, but just quickly, I would say Edge higher on look, just lower than him on promo, if not equal, because very different types of things, but we've seen Edge be very, very good, and then just a little lower on wrestling. So I think they might actually kind of level out.
Mm-hmm.
I think like he'll make up for looks what Christian makes
as
up
jaw
for
protrudes and eyes sink in.
And just like he looks like an insane man. Yeah, he's got a great look for wrestling. So all right, who else? Give us another mid-card title guy.
Hey, you know what? I'll give you another AEW guy.
All right, let's keep going. Let's all elite ratings.
Eddie Kingston, AEW Continental Champion.
Oh man, Kingston. Look. Oh boy, I'm gonna make people angry here.
It's tough.
I like when somebody does look like they're just a guy. I don't dislike someone who just looks like a tough guy, right?
Yeah.
Eddie Kingston's ring attire works against that.
Yeah.
Like there was a point where Eddie Kingston and KO were kind of similar body types. I think KO has gotten a little bit more trim now over the past couple of years, right?
Or he's just bolted out the rest of it.
Potentially. Yeah, you might be right there. But Eddie Kingston makes himself look like such a scrawny fat man by wearing like a singlet.
Yeah.
That I'm giving him, I don't know, people are gonna make me sad. I think he's like a 3.
But with the look though, it's also his presence.
Right. And I like the
look.
The the shaved eyebrow look that he, I do,
because as you're saying with Edge has the perfect face for wrestling. Yeah. Kingston does too.
All right.
Kingston's mean mug.
You're not wrong there. I have to give you that. I have to give you
that. While he's not the superstar, walks through your airport and everyone stops and goes like, what is that?
Right.
But if he's walking through the airport and someone says like, who's that guy? It's like, he's a wrestler. Oh yeah.
Right.
And if Kingston were to turn and look at you, you'd go,
yeah,
you'd look away.
Sure.
So he looks tough and he carries tough. The outfit can take away tough points. That's what I would say with that.
And his body type. Like, let's not,
Yeah, because it's not enough of a, if he's got the belly, like Sandman was.
Right.
Basically at a point, right, where you go, yeah, he looks out of shape, but no, he's crazy. Yeah. He's wearing Zubaz.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'd say a 5.
So I don't know. I have to argue this. I don't think he's a better for wrestling than Ali is.
We're going person by person?
No, but I'm trying to keep like my own scale fair. Do you know what I mean? I'm trying to think about if this is what I meant, whereas like the more people you add to it, the more that you would kind of have to adjust the scale in that sense. It was like, I just feel like I go 4. I personally give him a 4.
But Kingston to me is he has more points in his presence and who he is and what is on his face.
So you went 5, is that what you said?
Yeah.
5. All right. Yeah. We'll give him a 5. Put him in the middle.
Because Mustafa Ali doesn't have that.
No.
He doesn't have a sense of tough or competitor or something. He's a good looking guy. Right. And I think that's a bit of the detriment because it's not enough of he's a Von Erich, right? Where he's so good looking
that it's like, yeah.
That it's like I'm happy to watch him do whatever.
Promo.
This is where it's at.
He's great. I think the only thing that works against him on promos and as a improviser, maybe you'll agree with this, maybe not, is restraint. That's the only thing that works against him. Is he's really, really, really good, and I believe everything he says. He's quick. He's mostly articulate for the most part. He gets his point across without having to repeat himself 20 times, like I literally just did just now by saying yeah. And then I'm gonna do it a third time. Here it goes. This is what I do all the fucking time.
He can surprise you.
Right.
He can change something and turn it on a dime where you think, oh, he's gonna say this, say that, and then something about it can change and the intensity can change. Right. He has great levels as well.
Yes.
He's not the highest volume at all times. He can change it to where appropriate. His emotions match it. I think he makes great emotional choices with his promos 100%. As well, where it's not just, I'm pissed off. Yeah, I'm pissed off.
And
I'm pissed
when
off.
I first kind of really started clocking him and he was on my radar, I didn't like him because I just couldn't stand, like, I'm just not a big fan of machismo. I'm just not a big fan of this like artificial tough guy, fucking New Yorker. Like
this thing in wrestling.
Fucking hate it. I honestly, it's like that, the era of wrestling that I was training in, I fucking hated everybody. Because this was the only gimmick there was. I'm from fucking Brooklyn, bro. Like, this was the old fucking, that was every guy I wrestled with. What's your gimmick? Fucking tough guy. All right, great.
And where'd you learn to wrestle?
Fucking Jamaica, Queens.
Yeah, well, maybe that was the problem.
So
should have gone to Oklahoma.
And this is why I don't dislike a cowboy wrestler. Because I'm like, yeah, at least I don't know that guy. So
that's what I grew up with.
Exactly. I was just trying to draw the comparison. But with that said, what I was getting at about the restraint was, I think being a good talker doesn't just mean being by yourself. It means an interviewer. It means another guy across from you. And I've watched a lot of times where he doesn't know when to shut up for another second longer and time his moments, and the timing of talking with another person and creating moments. That's interesting. I look at that differently than you do. I just feel like he's that guy in the improv troupe who's all right, that you didn't need to do that in that moment. Restraint sometimes, not saying the thing you think is important sometimes is just as important.
So the instance where I see that being different is CM Punk.
Yeah.
Right. When they're in AEW together and they had that in ring and they're going back and forth. And timing was different and weird because it felt real, right? Sure. It feels like something's happening. So I look at the instance that you're talking about with the other wrestlers is that he's talking to scripted people and scripted people go, wait, when is your line done? I don't speak or say anything. He's like, it got real right now. I'm telling you something else because I feel it in the moment. And they're like, I am not ready. So the timing is weird because no one else will play.
I don't disagree with that at all. And there is something,
but he also can't bring it out of him. So
there's something to be said about if it's not working, then still that also is a part of restraint. You can't,
because at least with Stone Cold, everyone would just shut up and go like,
right.
He's scaring me.
The reality is that if you're trying to do something and it's not working, then you're still trying to put a square peg in a fucking round hole. And so that's the only reason why he's going to lose points to me. I don't know. I think I might go 8.5.
I'm fine with that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's kind of where he would be a 9. I think he's losing 0.5 for my restraint issue, but yeah, I think 8.5 is where he's at. Wrestling. This is tougher for me. I think I have a harder judge of this for him because I don't think I've seen him in as many matches as I've seen the two aforementioned people we've discussed. Mm-hmm. Tougher for me to judge him on.
And I've seen a decent amount.
And you've seen him live in person
far
too.
More longer than I've watched. And it's back and forth because there are times when I go, he's really great. And then there are times where I go, the Japanese style that you love so much that you're trying to emulate, that doesn't
work for you,
fit for him, or it's just not as believable.
Yep.
So at times I go, it doesn't work, but there's times when he is really solid. So in my mind, I'm going 6.
That's kind of where I was putting him. I think we're on the same page. That's good because I thought we would have an argument with this one, but I think that because the reality is that he's not a natural athlete. He is a fighter, tough guy. And I guess I'm going to continue my comparison to KO because of the body type I meant earlier. KO,
I mean, even a bit of Lawler, really. Like Lawler wasn't that. And if you lean more into
being a brawler.
That where it's like, you're not the athlete, but you know how to tell a fucking story.
And I think
clearly
the difference between like him and someone like KO is when KO tries his finesse, when he tries his high fly shit, you can clearly tell he's capable of the finesse. Whereas when Kingston does it, it doesn't look the way it looks in your head.
It's coming out of fandom. It's like, I'm doing the things that I love and I want to be a part of it. And ideally someone goes, hey man, that's great that you love it.
Right.
You can do one thing. Stop doing it. It's working against you.
Right. 19.5. That's where Eddie Kingston landed on the 0 to 30 scale. Pretty fair so far. So far, I do think the Hitman scale kind of does work here.
Yeah, I think none of the wrestlers agree with it or like it.
None of the listeners either, I'm sure. Who else you got?
But I'd love to see these either, you list them out in the Discord or you call up the hotline and you
I feel like this might
break down the score.
I feel like the Hitman scale might just become part of the show forever now. I think when we talk about wrestlers, we're just going to use this because I'm liking it more and more. Give us another one.
All right, next
Let's
up,
do a couple more.
Next up, we will go with the WWE Intercontinental Champion, Gunther.
Oh boy. All right. I mean, look, in my opinion, even though I don't like fit Gunther as much as I like thick with 2 C's Gunther.
Thick Walter,
yes. As much as I like Walter a little bit more than I like Gunther, still, the way that he carries himself, the size of his body and the length, like even fit, that face, that fucking head, the buzz cut,
jaw.
I mean, he's, in my opinion, he's like a 9.5, 10. Like he's that.
Really?
He is that. He looks like a fucking, this is what Bret was talking about with Hogan. If Walter walked into a fucking room, everybody's fucking looking at that guy. There's not a single head who doesn't look over and go, Jesus fucking Christ. Like that man,
that jacket is cool.
That
too.
man turns heads, his gear, the ring general gear, like in my opinion, that guy's got one of the best modern day looks for wrestling of anybody they got. Like he looks, and he's timeless as well. I was mentioning earlier how Stone Cold looked right for the era. This guy looks like you can put him in any era of wrestling, even in the Attitude Era, and he would fit in that mold. I think
I wasn't going to go this number, but I will go with you, a 9.
9. All right. Yeah.
You sold me.
Yeah. Promo. Getting a lot better.
Yeah.
Getting a ton better. Do I think he's
got some snark to him?
Got some snark. He's speaks eloquently. He speaks in a way that aids the gimmick and not against it. Because sometimes that happens where the presentation doesn't match the promo.
I don't feel he talks too much, which is helpful.
Yeah, I think I'm leaning.
But I don't always believe him. It's like, you did a good recital.
Sometimes he's got the lines.
Job.
Yes. I think I'm going 7.5 or 7.
I was going 5.
You're going that low? No, I think he's I think he was 5 in NXT when he first came out. I think he's gotten up there in these recent weeks, 100%.
I don't think he's of that level. It's not, because again, I just don't believe it a lot of the time. He's doing it. He's capable of conveying the words, but from the body, the presence, everything, and then the words come out. It's like, yeah, that's a nice line that was given to you, or you thought like, yeah, that'll be clever to say. You don't buy it. You're not conveying.
Have you watched?
You're going to hurt. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. All the like, I will beat him. What's the big deal with this guy? Like,
I don't know.
You're not. It's not connected yet.
Really? Have you been watching recent? Because I feel like everything I've watched lately of his, I'm fucking so invested in.
I'm invested in the guy too, but I think it's because of the other attributes.
Will you meet me in a 6?
But to me, that it's still the weakest. I go 5.5.
This is where I'm a bad negotiator. All right. I think he deserves more than that, but we're going to go 5.5, and I'm putting an asterisk next to this rating for myself. Wrestling. Jesus fucking Christ. This guy, it might be one of the best they've got as far as telling a story in the ring. I have not seen him have a bad match. I've seen him fucking wrestle Miz and it be fantastic the entire way through.
I give him a 9 because he's been at, this is the highest level he's been at.
Yeah.
He's done great matches, like you said, Miz and others, and he still hasn't been at his full challenge.
Yeah.
Like he hasn't been the main event guy in major companies, drawing in the major audiences, and to have those matches.
Yeah.
So that's why I give him a 9. I initially thought 10, but it's like there's still more to be had.
I think I'm also going 9. There in reality I was going 8.5, but since you went 9 and I thought he deserved more in promo, I'm going to go ahead and say 9. 23.5 total score for Gunther. Very fitting in my opinion.
Very fitting, and
that
I also believe that he can be higher.
And I think because his quote weak spot is promos, that's in my opinion generally only gets better. There are not, some people do get shittier with age, but most of the time people get better as the more, you know. And so I think Gunther, obviously Christian's had a fucking Hall of Fame career already. He's, but out of Eddie, Ali, and Gunther, the three others so far, like Gunther is the star. Like he's the fucking next big thing.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, we got time for another one. We're going a little long. We can do one or two. This is fun.
Good. I thought you were going to start rating the Palskis. Let's go with the opposite end, the opposite show title then of United States champion Logan Paul.
Logan Paul. I think that Logan Paul is in between the two categories of the Ali, where he doesn't look like a wrestler, but
he looks like a star.
He's got such star, like he's so good looking and also good looking enough where he could be the bad guy, not just like the cute baby face that I think Ali kind of has. I'm going 7 maybe.
So this was years ago when I was starting to do YouTube stuff, and my producer partner invited me to, at the time, like a holiday party in LA. Right. Of influencers and all that shit. And I hadn't scratched the surface of anything yet at that point. But he just got me in. He's like, you can network and just come on, like it's hanging out. And I was upstairs and I walked by this guy and I did a full on, I didn't know who he was.
Right.
But he's tall, he's blonde, good looking, just everything about it. And I just was still walking. But I just looked at him. He wasn't looking at me. Not walked next to other people and pretty gals. I wasn't looking at the gals. I looked at him.
Right.
And it was Logan Paul. Because I said to someone, like, who was it? And they said, that's Logan Paul.
Right.
They say he's got a brother and they do a bunch of YouTube stuff. I was ignorant to him, but I didn't know. But his presence caught my eyes.
Right. And you're a tall guy.
I'm a tall guy.
So
but I took fucking notice.
Eye to eye with him.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
He's got the handsome star quality, even a bit of the, you son of a bitch, you have these attributes. I hate that you have this. I hate that you're good looking. I hate that you have all that.
It's shit-eating grin. Yeah.
I might go 7.5 because I feel like, the whole package isn't there. Like with the ring attire and all that, it's gaudy and it's flashy and stuff for sure. But
well, it's also just a remnant. It's still just a remnant of Miz. I think it's weird because Miz kind of brought him in as, obviously, you know what I mean, kayfabe. Miz called him up, was like, hey, but
he regrets it.
But I feel like he never dropped Miz's gimmick when he was brought in as Miz's partner, which is, I think, is kind of strange. He's still kind of wearing the same shit that Miz wears, and I'm like, oh, I thought you would think he would have departed and done his own thing.
I still think he does it better though. When I see it,
he's the real life Miz. Miz became the.
That's what I'm saying.
Do you know how
Miz is a put upon?
Well, because
who's adapted himself to be that?
No, okay. What I was gonna say was, Miz comes from reality TV, and Miz might has what? Tamina. What was my promo skills again? All right. Miz might as well have been. That's a hard thing to say.
Jesus.
Like a wrestler in the 80s when they were all like an occupation, right? And his occupation was reality star.
90s.
Sure. Yeah, sorry. But he's the wrestling version of that person. He was like, I'm a movie star, but when he wasn't actually a movie star. He was playing the part of that because he's a wrestler with an occupation outside of wrestling. He was the goon.
Miz was a guy from the get-go of, I will do anything to get on reality television.
Right,
I will be whatever crazy guy you want me to be on reality television.
Right.
I will be whatever wrestling persona you want me to be on television. I like this. I like to be The Rock.
Right.
Like he's big. I love him, but you don't want that. And then he's forever been like, I'll do whatever you want to get these spots and do these things. And that's great. It's being a team player.
Right.
But that's why I say like he puts it on himself to then whatever he gets, he adopts that part of the persona.
Right.
When Logan Paul clearly just went, I'm going to do these things and I'm going to make it for myself because I am this. And he is it. He lives it and he already had it. He didn't have to change. He was who he was. And then wrestling went, you want to be here? And boxing went, you want to be here? Like we'll take you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. All right. Well, promo. I mean, he definitely has the gift of gab. He does it. It's what made him famous, regardless of whether or not we like how it happened. And whether or not you believe what he's saying, turning him kind of heel and doing that, like him in the fucking chamber pod, I hate how much I liked it. I saw all the videos of the mics when they were like, oh, there's mics and chambers watch. And I was like, God damn, he's having a blast. I believe
drawing a fat Kevin Owens.
And then writing Kevin Owens sucks. And then the cut to just him getting his head smashed. Like, but fuck, he's a good promo. That whole obnoxious thing with him unveiling the Prime logo, the first center ring sponsor. He's fucking good. I hate that he's good, but he's good.
Yeah, it makes you feel, I'm the same way. So I think I'd say, because it's not great yet, but it's all just really, really good. So I think it'd go 7.5.
I was going to go 8 personally, but you argue why he's not an 8.
He's not an 8 because it's not great yet.
Okay. And so 7.5 is the 3-way marker. That's the tipping point. Anybody above 7.5 is great. It's just varying levels of greatness. Yeah.
He's really good.
All right.
He's really good. But it's like you said with Kingston, like timing and stuff like that, it's not all there yet.
Well, Kingston,
he is very, very good.
We gave Kingston a whole point.
He can sooner, if like what he does in ring, the moments in ring where he's quiet or he has to play something like in the chamber, right? Where he's having to do the moment of I'm pulling out brass knucks super slow and in a ring. And it's like, why don't you just hurry up and do it? You filled the moment to give Orton the time to do it. And then coming back later, the timing of hitting him and doing all that. Like he fills moments so well with all the non-speaking.
Yes, 100%.
And keeps you engaged. But if he's just on mic, it's not all there.
Right. Wrestling.
But it's good.
An insane athlete, for sure. Undeniable. Whether or not he's yet a great wrestler and doing a great job in telling stories in the ring, he's not selling. He's the irony, like the thing is like he's in the best case scenario because he didn't go wrestle in the indies for a ton, where he got a bunch of spot fest work rate shit thrown in his ear. So he's actually set up for success by being thrust into this specific place where it's not about doing everything. You still get your spots, you get your clickable moments, You're getting your big feats of athleticism. So I actually think he might be a little bit better. But is that him doing it? Is that his instincts? Or is that everybody saying, like, this is what you got to do, and him being a really good listener? Because that also plays into it as well.
Well, and they're also making sure, I think they're protecting a lot of stuff around it, and maybe they're turning stuff down or going like, yeah, do 2 and 3, don't do 4 and 5.
Right.
In the long haul, this works for you. So I think he's being produced very well.
Yeah.
But with that, again, it's because we only have X amount of matches,
right?
And they have gone well, or like the Rumble moments of him and Ricochet just doing a tummy touch. It's all really good, and there aren't moments where in the match I go, oh, now he's trying to figure out what to do again.
Right.
Like Stephen Amell.
Right.
People went nuts and crazy for Stephen Amell. Yeah, you're very athletic, but there were times when you went, oh, that fucking hurt. And it all just fell apart.
Absolutely.
And, or that big guy threw me around for a second and it fell apart. The Logan doesn't have any of that.
Yeah.
It feels like he's in the world, but there's not a lot to judge. So again, I'd be like 7.
I was going to say 7. I was going to say 7. I think that's kind of, in my opinion, where he's is, because the athleticism is great. He's selling well for how little he's been doing it. And his timing has been really, like you said, his timing has been great. I think he's being very puppeteered this time, which isn't a bad thing. And in fact, it shows you that maybe he's in a little better, because other people would be trying too much, trying to get the shit in.
Yeah. So I think 7's a great number for him.
Yeah. 20.
For also, he's fought seasoned people that are really good. We haven't seen the 6-minute TV matches with all the other people that it's like, hey, you got to do you got to help this guy a little bit. You got to do that. It's about him looking great.
Right. 22 is his overall rating out of 30 on the scale. That's
again can also get better.
Yep. You got one.
But right now, that's all we got the judge on.
You got one more for us before we head out of here?
Jesus.
We don't have to.
How many mid-card titles do you think AEW has? Oh, wait, we're good.
We can wrap it up there if you want to.
Now, this one might be a little tough, though.
Okay, because we don't know it. We don't know him or her.
I've certainly seen them more, but let's wrap it up.
Okay. Well, we haven't rated any ladies.
Unless you just got somebody. Pull somebody.
Well, we haven't rated any ladies.
Yeah, and I avoided one of them. Let me see. Let me look at WWE, and we'll just choose.
Who's the NXT Women's Champion? We probably don't know who they are. Never mind.
That's a great question.
We're not gonna.
I could tell you, and I think we'd still,
because the women don't have a mid-card title, and I've tried to keep this whole thing on theme. Well, maybe we wrap it up.
Well, I'll say this, because there's 2 world champions amongst the women's division.
Okay.
And come on, the other one,
right?
It's not Rhea.
We get it.
Io Sky is WWE Women's Champion.
Okay.
So let's take a look at Io Sky.
All right. I think Io has a fantastic look. She has a faraway look in her eye. She looks insane.
So does Shawn Michaels.
No. That's it. No. He's faraway look, not one eye is looking far away from the other. I think the only thing that hurts Io is her size, but the way that she wrestles complements that. So this is where there's kind of a give and take, where it's hard to judge just the one on its own. But if we have to, based on the Hitman scale, I think for her look, 7, I would go.
Okay. I was thinking 6.5.
Yeah.
I do like it. I think it's a little bit what you said might have just influenced me, where there's a lot of fun stuff.
Right.
That is part of the look when she comes out, and you see it in the makeup and the hair.
Right.
Like, she puts it together really well. But when you peel too many layers away, and then you go, oh, all right, well, all that's gone, huh?
Right.
Oh, that sucks.
I think that she's gotten better as a wrestler in the WWE style since her time in NXT, but I think her presentation in NXT with the fucking strobe and the creepy music and the fucking weird, like, drunken master walk to the ring that she used to do, that was fucking great. Like, I think that she's gotten down a little bit in the look from that point, but gotten way better in wrestling in the style, because at that point it was still just fucking chaos. I mean, it's
to me that was like, oh, that's neat.
Right.
But that feels like someone told you to do that, or like, just be weird.
Right. Maybe.
But it wasn't her.
I don't know.
Compared to now.
I don't know. It feels to me like a character that she's that. It feels to me inspired by pop culture she likes. So I felt it was more authentic in her versus someone told to do it personally.
I've never seen that in Stranger Things.
I'm
assuming she likes Stranger Things.
Yeah, you look just like Vecna. All right. Promos. Not great.
No.
Not great. We talked about this a little bit last week when we were talking about Okada coming to AEW and how sometimes a non-English speaker on an English dominant program hasn't found that magic way to do it and to make it work. And I think she's unfortunately one of the ones who suffers.
Because with anybody, you can put together a video package of them speaking.
Sure.
They did it. Oh, I'm trying to remember when that was, but there was like a really great EO Sky package where she's talking and there's clouds and all this shit going on and it's being translated. And it's like, yeah, but that's not her doing a promo.
It's unfair because I bet you a lot of people are great promos in their native tongues. And it's just like, well, unfortunately, it reminds me of, there was a line from, of all things, that TV show, Modern Family. There was a line from that stuck with me.
You do enough seasons, you're bound to.
Yes, Sofia Vergara, who's like, she's supposed to be like the hot young trophy wife of Ed O'Neill, and they always pick on her because of her accent, and they make fun of her because of things she says. And she said something. She was like, "You guys don't know how smart I am in Spanish," and I was like, "Oh shit, that's a really good fucking line." Because there is that thing that occurs where it's like, oh, they sound silly because they don't know how to put a sentence together. And then we go, oh, they're not very bright. And we're just all fucking racist English-speaking assholes. And that line to me really stuck out. And I feel like this might be one of those where we're going to unfortunately give a rating that's probably maybe a little bit undeserved, but we only can know what we see.
For the North American market of this is the television show you're on and you're speaking to this audience.
Yeah.
This is what it is.
I unfortunately think I have to go 3 for promos for her.
I was thinking 3 as well.
Yeah. Wrestling. This is an issue of wrestling constraint. I think she's intense. She looks like she's in a fight. Her shots look like they connect, whether they do or not. The war games off of the cage with a can and the silly shit doesn't match what I want the character to be. So she loses points for not seeming like she's deranged and in a fight. And maybe it's like, I want her to seem more dangerous, more like a dangerous fighter
than stupid,
than a silly spot wrestler. Yes.
Yeah. It's like, don't do that.
Right.
That's not going to help anybody. But if you're at the top of the cage and you're deranged and then you're holding the trash can, throw it.
But when you,
that's crazy.
Yes. And then jump onto them afterwards.
Yeah.
But I think when you look at her on the scale of the ladies in the roster, she's a great wrestler compared to some of her peers. And so I think this is a tough one where I think you got to leave room for progress because she definitely has room for it, but she's not bad by any means. I think she's on the top half of it for sure. I think she's definitely in the between 6 and 10 versus between 1 and 5, in my opinion.
And I haven't seen enough of her wrestling overall. I have seen the bigger things like that where I go, all right, but I see the moments in there. And in my head, I was thinking 6.5.
I was going to argue 7 for her. I was going to argue that she almost has the same exact problem that we talked about with Ali. And I think that they're I think they're in the same camp. They're like the indie people who've wrestled overseas.
Camp WWE.
where their music plays every time they're on screen. I think she's 7 because I think she's held back by doing too much. She's held back by the story in exchange for the athleticism. But the finesse is there. The athleticism is there. I argue that she's a 7. I think her and Ali, having him on the scale,
7's pretty high.
That helped me. And that's kind of where I put her. I think I go 7.
Are there classic EO Sky matches?
I mean, in NXT, I feel like yes. So I again, like,
I will concede to a 7 due to ignorance.
16.5 is where she lands.
All right.
One of the lowers of our rated today, but not the lowest.
Yeah, what do we got? Break it all down.
So Ali, 15.5 on the scale, the lowest rated on the scale today.
And then each category. So
4.5 look, 4 promo, 7 wrestling.
Okay.
I think we still I'll do them in order from least to highest rating, lowest to highest rating. I don't want to say least to best because I don't want to make it about that. It's all about the scale.
The fucking worst and dredge of humanity.
EO 6.5 on look, 3 in promo. The promo is really what killed her here. 7 in wrestling. She gets 16.5. The next one up on the list.
Mm-hmm.
The next one up from there is Eddie Kingston. 5 look, 8.5 promo, 6 wrestling, 19.5 total. The last of our 6 we rated here that's not in the 20s. The rest of them jump up to the 20s. The next one up, we have Logan Paul. 7.5 look, 7.5 promo, 7 wrestling, solid 22 rating. That is an example of someone who's just like right there on everything. Right there.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think for a long period of time, had we done this show a long time ago, Edge would have been that.
Right.
Edge was a guy where it's like, he's got
very long
all
time
the stuff
ago,
and he does it really well.
Kinda,
like in that time when he's wrestling Eddie on SmackDown.
Yeah.
He's 7s.
Yeah,
he was funny a few years ago.
You're kind of right. Logan Paul is like post ENC Edge, like singles or early singles Edge.
SmackDown show era. And that's the point where if people are listening to this and going like, if they got this far and they're like, this is fucking bullshit. What are you talking about? I thought today, looking at the people that are in the spot of they're breaking through.
Right.
They're at the middle championship and they're heading towards the main event. Chances are all their numbers are going to get better.
Right. Yeah.
Bret Hart looked at people that their careers were done.
Yes, absolutely. He didn't look at active talent.
Yeah.
Well, next up is Christian, the only true veteran, like real honest veteran on the list.
And who's also just not done.
Right.
He just
crazy.
He won't
6.5 look, 8.5 promo, 8.5 wrestling, 23 total. When I look back at that, I go, I think I want to go 7 on look. I want to add one more to that look personally, but that's just me. But the next up, so that was a 23 total. At the top of the list from today was Gunther. 9 look, because he's just fucking got it. 5.5 promo, 9 wrestling. The dude has that secret sauce. He's got a rating of 23.5, highest rated today.
All right.
Yeah. This is fun. I think this might just be a new episode that we do. So today was,
when we don't have ideas.
Well, no, I mean, this is like, an ongoing series. This was our Hitman rating system mid-card titles. And we'll do one maybe where we do tag titles or we do the tag teams. We do them as individuals and then as a team. We give them both 3 ratings.
Sure.
Maybe we do main titles.
That seems
main title ladies.
Convoluted.
Yeah, world title ladies. Why would it be convoluted? Because we can argue that a certain guy has a really... Oh, maybe we take the averages. Maybe that's how you do a tag team. You do both guys and you take the average. I don't know. This is fun. We're going to do this. This is just...
I do think it's
going to happen now.
I do like it.
So the first ever hit...
And I'd love to hear our listeners reply. Do they agree? Do they think there's stuff that's different? Because obviously Jake and I conceded on some things and went like, all right, yeah, sure, give that. And but I want to hear your scales. Using the Hitman scale.
They've been mentioning on WWE programming so much because promoting 2K24 that like, the rating system, the ever controversial rating system is what they keep saying.
They threw them out. They started new.
So I think we might be joining that, the ever controversial PWP Hitman rating system. Sure. Well, that'll do it. Thanks everybody. Thanks to those who joined us live. Andrew Beeler, current PWP champ, aka Pollen Hate, defends that title next week. You got to become a championship level Palski over at patreon.com/PW Palskis to challenge for that title next week. We're going to go take a hotline call. Scott Narver, say goodbye to live stream.
Bye, live stream.
747-666-5606. That is the number of the Pro Wrestling Palskis hotline, or you can send a voice memo to hotline at pwpalskis.com. Scott Narver, are you at all interested in taking a hotline call?
I am 30 interested.
Hey guys, it's Paul, cousin Paul from Long Island. Walking my dogs. Got a question for you, both of you. When did you realize, or what was the first moment you realized your favorite wrestler was your favorite wrestler? So, like, for Scott, when did you realize, I'm assuming it's Sting. What was the instance that made you like a Sting fan? And for Jake, what was the instance that made you an Undertaker fan? All right, I'd like to hear the answer. Bye.
My cousin Paul from Long Island thinks you like Sting real bad.
I'll be playing the part of Shane Hartline today.
Yeah, I don't know where he got that idea from.
Maybe from watch along of me trying to convert you to be a Sting fan. I am a Sting fan.
Maybe.
But he's not my end all be all bay.
Well, maybe if he invited you to his wedding, you would have been able to talk about who your favorite wrestler was and he would know.
Yeah, or even ever telling me that, Paul, you own a fucking dog?
2.
Then why is he only walking one of them?
Harry and Sam.
Did he
No, he
leave
said
one
dogs.
behind?
He said
Much
plural.
like the co-host of this show?
He said dogs. He said plural.
It sounded like he said dog. I'm sure he left one behind.
All right, you leave.
Probably the one that likes Sting.
Leave Harry and Sam. That's definitely Harry. Harry likes Sting. Sam is probably more of a Eddie Guerrero fan.
Harry and Sam, what kind of dogs? Because Paul won't tell me.
They're like little, I don't know. They're little curly haired. I just don't know what kind of dogs those are. Cockapoos? No, I don't know. They're like the little curly haired dogs. Shih Tzus? Cockapoos.
Shih Tzus are not curly.
Well, they're those tight little curl. They're like
tight.
Yeah, they're like tight curls. They have tight little curls.
Oh.
I think they have
they're
hair
like your
and
little
not
tight
fur.
Dogs.
I think they might have hair and not fur. They might be
What?
hyperallergenic. Like they might be hyperallergenic. You know, dogs have hair and not fur. Are you not aware of this?
No.
You're such a cat person. You're not aware? Yes, that's why people get hypoallergenic dogs, because some dog breeds don't have fur. They have hair, and therefore they don't shed, and people aren't allergic to them.
Oh, so what are you worried about then with the hair loss?
I have fur.
Just shave a dog.
All right, we're fucking way off topic here. When did you realize your Sting was your favorite wrestler? He asked.
Today, when Paul called and told me so.
If I had to pick, I'd say Mick Foley for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So all right. I know you. This is like a newlywed the game.
Because it's changed throughout the years.
Yeah,
but
I think mine has too.
The longevity of it, and when I got back in and stayed in, it was Mick.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think there was a moment of epiphany, but I'm trying to think of maybe a moment when I just flat out realized, like, I love Mick Foley.
Right.
I think it was probably maybe one of the first moments, again, realizing in hindsight that it's love, it's devastation and anger, but it's the Royal Rumble 2000 match, the street fight with Cactus Jack versus Triple H.
Triple H.
When he loses.
Right.
And he doesn't get the title. He doesn't get to go to Mania.
Right.
Opportunity is lost and it's over. I was devastated. I became an emotional wreck when then it's a month later and he retires at No Way Out in the Hell in the Cell when it's the one last chance.
Right.
And otherwise he might have to retire. Then I'm fucking crushed. And so I hate Triple H so fucking much.
Yeah.
But that's looking back and going, yeah, I fell in love with the dude.
Yeah.
Everything about it. And, but not seeing it from that side of it at the time.
Right.
So I think that's around the time when Mick becomes
my
favorite.
And that's interesting too, because you're older and it's more about the emotional
You just
in
had
that
a birthday.
instance. No, I meant first off, yes, you still are. Even if I had a birthday, you're still older than me. Your age is still higher every year. It's the same. It continues to grow in the same difference.
We had a leap year, so I don't know.
And you fucking leapt back in time. Whereas I feel like for me, it was just being a kid, watching wrestling as a kid. The Undertaker is just the coolest fucking thing. Like dressing like him as a fucking little kid for Halloween. Like he's just so cool. He's cool. He's creepy. I was like a little like pseudo goth kid at the time. And I was just like fucking loved anything that was dark and cryptic. And I think like my young memory was him showing up on the screen after everybody shoves him in the casket. Was it him and Yokozuna?
Could be.
Where everybody comes out and they fucking put him in the casket. And that's it. He's gone. But then all of a sudden he shows up on the screen.
Yeah.
And then the lightning. And I'm just like, as a little kid, that's the coolest fucking thing that's ever happened in all of time and space. Because by the way, it's real. Obviously.
And The Crow hasn't come out yet, so.
No, well, if it did, I wasn't on top of it. I wasn't aware. It was a couple years late to that. But that's like, as a little kid, that is a real memory that I have. I think as an adult, what solidified it, what made me go like greatest of all time, like what I think for me is the 4-year span of 25, 26, 27, and 28 of him versus Triple H. I'm sorry, him versus HBK 1, him versus HBK 2, him versus Triple H 1, him versus Triple H 2. Those 4 Manias at that level, at that age, in that shape, with that story to me was like, I still think to this day should have fucking retired right there. Like that. That to me solidified him as my favorite of all time, because I think the story he told with those two men over the course of those 4 years, I was just so invested. It's what brought me back into wrestling full time, was wanting to see those matches. And like, if I wasn't tuning in for those matches, I wouldn't have been seeing all of the younger talent of that era and reinvesting in this industry and in this art form with those younger guys. Like, so yeah, for me, those are kind of my moments with Taker, I think.
Additional question for that.
Yeah.
For those 4 Manias, did you want Taker to win every time?
I think I wanted him to win every time, but I believed he would lose. The whole streak being broken by one of these guys made me believe it. When I really did not know 26 how that was going to go. I did not know whether or not Triple H was going to, or I'm sorry, I keep doing that. HBK was going to retire, and whether that was going to be the end of the streak. Streak versus career felt like that's a good way to end the streak as well as a career. So I bought in. They fucking sold it to me. They had me hook, line, and fucking sinker. I was absolutely sold on that. So I wanted him to win all of them, but I also believed there was a possibility he wouldn't. So when he did, it was exciting, which I think is like the best. That's the best part of wrestling, is when you're like, I don't know if my guy's going to win and win. That's when it's real. That is when you get to invest as an adult, like any kid watching wrestling.
That's what mine was too.
Yeah.
And he's funny.
Yeah, you got that part too.
Taker, funny now.
Yeah.
And funny during the era that you didn't like him, that I liked him.
Yeah, I know. But I also, in fairness, wasn't watching all of that. So there's that.
Well, hence we have watch along.
Thank you so much for the call, Paul. That's my cuz. I love him. He's the best.
Why doesn't more of your family call?
Because none of them care and none of them listen.
Well, I figured
none of them watch
listen,
wrestling.
But
none of them watch wrestling. That's it.
I figured they'd just still leave you like nasty messages about your stupid wrestling habit. Like we could at least get those calls.
I keep it secret from all of them. It's my secret shame.
Fair enough.
Why do you think I design PWP merchandise that's vague? So you could wear people like, what's that? And you could be like, not wrestling related.
It's a hot dog sex toy thing.
Well, okay, not that one. Hot Dog-A-Mania shirts available right now at PWPalskis.com.
Soon to be a sex toy. It's gotten so popular.
Really? I'm not. I don't have the funds to design.
I think
that,
Xavier
so
Woods is going to be using it.
that's all on.
So they're going to make men's.
All right. Anyways,
I broke him, everybody.
Hey, thanks for being patrons. Those of you over at patreon.com/PWA Palskis. Scott and Arver, let's thank our current Patreon Palskis.
The only show that hands out retribution names as well as maximum male model names. Why? Because
I don't know.
Bully Ray and Mark Henry won't do it. I don't think they watch any of the product.
No, I don't
so
know.
Thank you to AJ0314, aka Binary, aka Matrice69, Alex Pierce, aka Figs, aka Zetoys, Alice Raider, aka Invasion, aka Evajois, Andrea Beeler, aka Pollen Hate, aka Achu Detest, aka the current PWP champ, Curtis Mason, aka Hurtis, aka Ouche, Gilbert Short, aka Goliathon, aka Batal Underoos, Mass Llama, aka Spitz, aka Jakara Lover, Michael Beltran, aka Limestone, aka La Natural, Miguel Diaz, aka Bipod, aka Too Much Husk, Mike Lucas, aka Hackensack, aka Luger Testicle, Strong Style, aka Gaines, Suicide, aka AKA, Tim Bemis, aka War Trek, aka Tussle Quest, Tim Redbeard, aka Blood Fuzz, aka Blue Diffuse, Tom Hader, aka Cupid, aka Cherub, and Tony Griggs, aka Big Griggs, aka Grand Grisois.
Thanks to each and every one of you for your continued support of the program. If you haven't joined the Discord, what are you waiting for? Get on in there. It's absolutely free. It has nothing to do with the Patreon. It's totally free, and it's the best place to hang out and chat, especially during Mania season. I think Mania is next weekend. I don't know the dates, but soon. It's coming up.
It's a great time to, as the show's going on, to leave your real time Bret Hart rating system scores for everybody on the card.
Yeah. So please consider head on over to Discord and join our fun community there. It's one of my favorite things of the show is our community. I love that we got hotline callers, that we got people that tune into the live stream and talk to us directly. The interactivity is what makes our show different from others, and quite frankly, is I think the best part of it. And so please consider becoming one of those active participants. I know we have a ton of listeners. I see the numbers who we don't really know and who don't participate. So this is my call to action to you to introduce yourself. Say hi. If you've been listening for a while, come out of the shadows and say hi.
Expose your identity on the internet. What could go wrong?
I promise you we're a friendly bunch, and we only give you retribution and maximum male model names if you're a patron. You don't have to get one if you don't want.
Yeah, much like wrestlers in WWE.
I can't promise that. I think that'll do it. Hey, find us on the social media. At PW Palskis on all social media. You can find me at Jake Lloyd Bacon. He's at Scott Narver. And we really appreciate everybody tuning in, listening. We hope you had a good time. We sure did, because it's always a blast hanging out with you, the Pro Wrestling Palskis.
More than 400 years ago, there was a man who lived in Stratford-upon-Avon named Shakespeare. This is the man many consider to be the greatest writer of all time. Of course, the few things we really know about this guy are that he sold grain, didn't bother to teach his children to read or write, and was kind of a jerk to his wife, especially in his last will and testament. Meanwhile, 100 miles away from Stratford, on Elizabethan stages, plays were being performed written by someone signing the name William Shakespeare. A writer who often lampooned the monarchy and put his life at risk by doing so. The sort of thing that one may use a pseudonym for, sort of to, protect their identity. Surely you see where I'm going with this. A mistake was made all those years ago, and we attributed those legendary works to the wrong dude. Which begs the question, who really was William Shakespeare? Join me, Stephen Sable, as I invite historians, researchers, lawyers, artists, authors, and more to explore this fascinating mystery of Shakespeare authorship on my podcast called Don't Quill the Messenger. You can hear it now at don'tquillthepodcast.com or wherever you're listening to this podcast right now.
It's Dragon Wagon.